Welcome to part six of our art appreciation, chapter 13, The Age of Faith. We are going to talk about Buddhism and Hinduism. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama, a prince from Nepal who lived in the 6th century BC. In his searching for the meaning of life and reason for human suffering, the Buddha experimented with a number of paths to enlightenment and experienced many adventures and temptations. Through the revelation that all life is an illusion, and the only way to escape pain is to renounce all desires, the Buddha was able to escape what Hindus believed was the endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and attain nirvana, a state of endless bliss. One of the classic representations of the Buddha is the sculptural depiction of seated Buddha preaching the first sermon from the 5th century. Every element is symbolic. The Buddha is seated like a yogi or an Indian holy man. A beautifully carved halo is behind his head. The position of his hands is known as the teaching position, also called turning the wheel of the law. Around him are symbols we saw in the lion capital, the wheel of the law behind and stylized lines on either side. Certain features such as the elongated earlobes from heavy earrings and the stylized arrangement of the hair show that the Buddha was once a double Indian prince. The statue balances such a finely carved details against smooth, undecorated expanses of stone. The quiet harmony and idealization of the figure contribute to a sense of repose, as do the downturned eyelids and calm smile. The colossal figure of this Indian Buddha underwent many transformations as the religion spread through Asia. For instance, the dramatically different colossal Buddha from China was carved out of rock at about the same time as the Indian statue. The walking Buddha of Thailand was finished about 1,000 years after the Indian Buddha from Sarnath. This figure represents the Buddha in his role as a missionary, a fitting role considering the vast spread of Buddhism from its original base. The Buddha's sculpture is more than life-size. Its utterly smooth surface and sinuous curves are typical of Thai art, and its ideal beauty is described by the Thai Buddhists as arms like the hanging trunk of an elephant. Hinduism. Like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Buddhism and Hinduism are also related religions. Hinduism is an early system of beliefs, an ancient religion native to India. Hindus believe that humans are fated to experience an undying cycle of birth, life, death, and rebirth, known as reincarnation. The final goal of this cycle is oneness with the Absolute, or the Supreme Being, who is present in the world in innumerable forms. The concept of karma determines one's fate. The deeds of one lifetime influence one's status in the next. This idea is reflected in a rigid caste system where one's social status is absolutely determined by birth into one of the 5 castes or classes: priestly, warrior, producer, menial, and untouchable. Hinduism is polytheistic, incorporating many major and minor deities. However, the most important god is a threefold divinity: Brahma, the creator; Vishnu, the preserver; and Shiva, the destroyer. The god includes within itself several opposing concepts: light and dark, birth and death, beauty and ugliness, good and evil, male and female. Because the idea of destruction carries within it the seeds of its opposite, rebirth and reproduction, the god Shiva has many faces, from fierce destroyer to calm and caring preserver. His most famous role is that of Shiva Nataraja, Lord of the Dance. The dance of Shiva symbolizes the most powerful forces in the universe: the rhythm of creation, conservation, destruction, and liberation. In this incarnation, he is shown surrounded by a halo of fire that represents the universe. His long hair streams out like wings on either side of his head as he dances. The fine bronze sculpture is made in the 11th century and demonstrates that Indian artists excelled in metalwork as well as stone carving. The figure appears both strong and graceful, dynamic and balanced, reflecting the contrasting forces typical of Hindu beliefs. Hindu religious architecture is not so much constructed as carved, and the temples are often said to be more like huge, complex structures than architecture. One dramatic example is the Temple of Ellora, which is completely carved out of a mountain. Perhaps the most startling aspect of Hindu art to Christian or Muslim eyes is the incorporation of the theme of sexual pleasures into places of worship. The exterior carvings on the Jagadambi temple go beyond the realm of voluptuous fertility symbol and into that of the erotic. Rather than rejecting the body and sensual delights, Hinduism incorporates the worship of the youthful human body. Sexual pleasure becomes a symbol of the union of human with the divine, not a source of guilt or shame. And thank you. That's it for that lecture.